Hello, everybody. You're on the mic, and on today's episode, I'm going to give a quick channel update as well as going to talk about some of the voice actresses who played who voiced Wonder Woman over the years on some cartoons and animated shows. So, without no further ado, let's get started here. First off, let me give a quick update on the channel here. I mentioned a couple weeks ago that I was considering maybe starting up the anime convention previews again, as things are once again slowing down because of the pickup in the surge in cases of coronavirus, as well as just kind of the unknowns of how things are going to move forward, as well as the fact as I myself considering a possible format change to how I'm doing the videos. I'm gonna once again put that off for right now. Um, I may, with the format change, bring anime convention previews back at some point. But for now, I'm putting those on the back burner for the time being. Um, So with that, that's the update for the channel. So now moving forward with today's episode, um, I'm going as I've done with Superman and Batman. I'm now going to focus in on Wonder Woman and talk about some of the actresses who have voiced her in animation, cartoons, particularly in television over the years. So without no further ado, let's get started. So the first um, The first time Wonder Woman appeared in a cartoon was as a guest star on the Filmation Brady Kids cartoon series in 1972 in the episode entitled "It's All Greek to Me," voiced by Jane Webb, who was a regular with Filmation. Most notably, of course, she would provide the voice of Batgirl in some of the Batman and some of Filmation's Batman cartoons, among other things. She would provide the voice of Wonder Woman here in this episode, in which the Brady kids, while debating which muscle you need to work out more, was it whether it's as Jan would be pointing out, was the brain that's the best muscle to work out more versus the body for the rest of the Brady kids. The Brady kids would meet up with Diana Prince and Wonder Woman, and would end up traveling back to ancient Greece to participate in the ancient Olympic Games. Wonder Woman throughout the episode would help both sides understand that working out both the brain and the body would be what is best. Wonder Woman would, the kids were going to try to win a marathon to participate in the Greek Games, only for Wonder Woman to convince them to disqualify themselves because that would ultimately change history. So, yeah, Jane Webb would provide, as I said, provide the voice of Wonder Woman on that episode of the Brady Kids from back in 1972. As we move ahead to the Super Friends franchise, which ran from 1973 to 1986, um, starting with the eponymous title of Super Friends in 1973, and working throughout like the all new Super Friends Hour, Challenge of the Super Friends, the Lost episodes in the early 80s. So Wonder Woman, there'd be three voice actresses who would voice Super Friends, who would voice Wonder Woman throughout the Super Friends franchise. Up through Super Friends The Lost episode, Shannon Farnan would provide her voice. And then in I believe it was 82, 83, um, the Super Friends Legendary Superpowers show, Connie Caulfield would replace Shannon Farnan as the voice of Wonder Woman. And then in 84, 85, BJ Ward would replace Connie Caulfield in the Super Friends, the Superpowers Team Galactic Guardians. BJ Ward, of course, also known for voicing Scarlet in Sunbow's G.I. Joe series, cartoon series, as well as Princess Ariel in the English dub of Voltron. B.J. Ward would then come back to reprise the role of Wonder Woman in the 1988 Superman cartoon, in which Superman and Wonder Woman would team up to face off against the Sorceress of Time in the episode Superman and Wonder Woman versus the Sorceress of Time. Um, so, um, so yeah. So then, as we get into the 90s and 2000s, as everybody knows, um, under the through Warner Brothers Animation, under the guidance of course, Bruce Timm, um, was created the DCAU, the DC Animated Universe, starting off with in 1992 with Batman the Animated Series in 1992, and then ending with Justice League Unlimited in 2006. So when the Justice League cartoon debuted in 2001, going through 2004, and Justice League Unlimited from 2004 to 2006. Susan Eisenberg was cast as the voice of Wonder Woman for the Justice League cartoons as part of the DCAU. She would appear in numerous episodes as a key member of the Justice League, both in the Justice League cartoons that would have the multi episode arcs, as well as Justice League Unlimited, which were standalone episodes. And Wonder Woman, as voiced by Susan Eisenberg, um, would be a major figure in that series. As we would move forward to the latter aughts, early 2010s, Wonder Woman would make some appearances in Batman the Brave and the Bold, the cartoon based on the classic cartoon or comic book series of the same name, in which originally featured Batman teaming up with various characters from the DCAU. Wonder Woman would have a non-speaking cameo as a Justice League member in Sidekicks Assemble, and then of course her speaking roles would come later in the episodes Scorn of the Star Sapphire, in which she was in the opening segment, rescuing, teaming up with Batman to rescue Steve Trevor from um, Baroness Paula von Gunther, in which she was voiced by Vicki Lewis. She would then, of course, later reprise that role in the episode Triumvirate of Terror, in which she would team up with Batman and Superman, face off against the combined threat of their arch enemies, the Cheetah, Lex Luthor, and Joker. Then in 2010, in the cartoon Young Justice, that was based on, of course, the formation of that group in the comics. Wonder Woman would make several appearances, voiced by Maggie Q, as a member, of course, a member of the Justice League, as well as being the mentor to the Cassie Sandsmark version of Wonder Girl. So Maggie Q would provide the voice of Wonder Woman in Young Justice in the 2010. So that is where I will stop right there. In terms of terms of the voices of Wonder Woman. As we now move ahead into the next segment of my videos. Now, today being July the 7th, now it's time to the cover this day in niche history. as I review here before I start talking about them. So first off, we head back 30 years ago to 1990 from the Baltimore Arena in Baltimore, Maryland. On this date in 1990, WCW would host its Great American Bash event on this date, subtitled New Revolution. In the main event of this event, in the main event of the Great American Bash 1990, saw Sting defeat Ric Flair for the NWA World Heavyweight Championship, in which he had his fellow Dudes with Attitudes faction members surrounding the ring, including Junkyard Dog, Paul Orndorff, and the Steiner brothers, with Elegante handcuffed to Ole Anderson to stave off the interference from the other Horseman members. Also on the card, of course, saw the tag team of Doom of Ron Simmons and Butch Reed, as managed by Teddy Long, retaining their title against the Rock and Roll Express, the NWA World Tag Team title. Also on the card, Lex Luger would retain the NWA United States Heavyweight Championship against Mean Mark Callis, better known to most fans as The Undertaker. This was a few months before he would actually leave the NWA to go become The Undertaker. Probably more like a year ahead. But prior to him becoming The Undertaker, he was Mean Mark Callis, and he would lose to Lex Luger, who would retain his NWA at the Great American Bash. Also, Paul Orndorff, Junkyard Dog, and Elegante, as members of the Dudes with Attitude, would defeat the members of the Four Horsemen of Sid Vicious, Arn Anderson, and Barry Windham via disqualification, with Ole Anderson in the corner. This also marked the WCW debut of Vader, in which he would beat Tom Zink in 2 minutes 16 seconds. The Steiner brothers would defeat the Fabulous Freebirds as part of the match, as well as the Midnight Express retaining the United States Tag Team Championship against the Southern Boys. So on this date in 1990, that's all that happened at the Great American Bash held by WCW. Moving ahead now to 1997. On this date in 1997, Johnny Bravo would debut on Cartoon Network on this day in 1997. It would run for 67 episodes over 4 seasons. So on this date in 1997, Johnny Bravo would make its debut with, of course, among the people lending their voices to it would include Jeff Bennett, Tom Kenny, Mae Whitman, Larry Drake, among others. So on this date, 1997, was the debut of Johnny Bravo. Moving ahead 1 year to 1998, on this date in 1998, the anime adaptation, not the anime, the manga adaptation of Ghost Hunt would start its serialization in Nagakayoshi on this date in 1998, and it's still going on today. On this date in 1998, the serialization of Ghost Hunt would make its debut on this date in 1998. And then on this date in 1999, the 570th issue of The Adventures of Superman would go out on the newsstands on this date in 1999. Date in 1999, The Adventures of Superman would be out on newsstands. So with that being said, as I mentioned before, first off, you guys want to contact me directly, you can check out my Discord. My Discord handle is down there. If you'd like to contact me directly, you can check out my Discord handle. You can check out the Discord and join if you'd like. I'm also still promoting a bunch of different dub companies, as Funimation is not the only game in town. There's other companies out there that you can check out. Check out their works. I'm also still promoting Vic's GoFundMe as well as Tug and Lug's Indiegogo project. If you guys want to check that out. As always, guys, never feel like you have to donate. If it's on your heart to do so and you have the means to do so, please consider donating. If you guys have already donated, please consider donating again. And if you cannot donate, you can still help out the cause by sharing the link. Sharing is caring, and you never know, maybe somebody in your circle of friends may want to help out. Doesn't hurt to ask, after all. And also, if you like this content, please consider liking, commenting, sharing, subscribing. I always look forward to the conversation with you guys as long as it's civil and respectful. And don't forget, my next voice actor's profile will be this Friday. Voices Big and Small. This week I'll be highlighting Dallas-based voice actress Cynthia Krantz. As many of you know her from as the voice of Chi-Chi, the English voice of Chi-Chi on the Dragon Ball franchise. So I hopefully you guys will come check that out. And don't forget also that my next live stream will be this Sunday at 7 p.m. Pacific, 8 o'clock Mountain, 9 o'clock Central, 10 o'clock Eastern. I'll be talking on my next live stream. I'll be talking about the history of specialty matches in professional wrestling. So I hope you guys will come by and check that out. And with all that being said, I'll see you guys tomorrow. Bye.